Wow, it's been about 3 months since I last updated this project. My bad. Hey Epic peoples, Epic here. Today is a special day for me, and I wanted to finally make this devlog after so long. So what have I been doing during that 3-month break? Working diligently, of course. Totally not procrastinating. No way. But hey, I have a lot of updates since last time, so let's not waste any more time and get right into it. My buttons now work. Well, all of them except for you. Anyway, you can now attack all around you and move to a designated location within your range. Neat, but what about defend? For that to work, I need a damage calculation. And since that wasn't done, it was time to bust out the calculator.
We have technology!
Turns out making a damage formula isn't as simple as sitting down with a coffee and doing some quick math. Shit gets complicated fast. My little Google Sheets formulas weren't gonna cut it, and so I had to do some research. Fire Emblem and Persona take weapons into account, but my units won't be swinging around guns and swords. My game is more like Pokemon X Fire Emblem or Pokemon Conquest, so naturally I leaned into Pokemon's damage formula as my baseline. After watching way too many videos on damage calculations, I came up with this formula. The attack and defense stat change based on the skill used. The calculation will either use a physical or elemental stats respectively. Skill power is inspired from Pokemon's power stat, which determines the base strength of a skill. The 50 is a constant modifier, a balancing factor to prevent damage from getting out of hand. There's a random variation which adds a small range so players can't predict exact damage every time. And of course there's a crit multiplier as well. Each skill can have a range of effectiveness on a single unit. The skill can be neutral, weak, resist, block, absorb, or repel, modifying damage accordingly. To prevent infinite loops, if both units repel a damage type, the damage is set to 0. I've implemented this for one of my skills and the attack button. Oh, and using a skill now actually lowers your MP. Look at me making functional mechanics. After struggling with damage calculations, you'd think I'd carefully research EXP and level up formulas. Nope, my happy ass sat down at the table like, yeah, I could do this easily in Google Sheets. In my game, the max stat you can have is 999 and the max level you can be is 99. Initially, I made this garbage formula that scaled exponentially, meaning early levels felt like a snail's race, while late game levels shot stats into the stratosphere. Not ideal at all. You see the crazy numbers I was getting with this in my Google Sheets. I fixed it with a much better formula that allows different growth curves as well, linear, exponential, and logarithmic. There's also a bit of randomness as well. You might see a little bit more in stats as you level up, and that's due to randomness, cause why not? Then it was on to the EXP system. I actually needed not just one formula, but two. How much EXP a unit gains, and how much EXP a unit needs to level up. These are the formulas that I have now. Base EXP is something I would set at the beginning. This number would be how much EXP a unit would need to level up at level 1. L is the current level. Growth factor controls how the EXP scales, and scaling divisor adjusts how fast EXP growth increases. The EXP formula has some numbers that might be a little bit confusing. The 5 acts as a scaling factor to balance EXP gain so it doesn't grow too fast. The 2 doubles the influence of the enemy's level in the numerator, which makes fighting higher level enemies give more EXP than equal leveled ones. The 10 in the numerator helps normalize the effects of enemy levels. This makes sure that lower level enemies provide meaningful EXP. The 10 in the denominator prevents divisions by 0 and extremely low EXP gains from lower leveled enemies. The 1 at the end just makes sure that you at least get 1 EXP. The implementation of this, just slap it at the end of the combat. Oh, and units that die actually get nothing. It kinda sucks to suck, so don't die. The next new system that I was wanting to make is the perk system. Think of perks like Pokemon abilities or Persona 5 traits. Each unit has a unique perk that shakes up combat. I set an event dispatcher at key points of combat, like the start of combat, skill usage, taking damage, you get the point. Right now I just have a dummy perk and it raises speed by 200 at the start of combat. The Slowpoke unit suddenly outspeeds everything. Magic. I'll be implementing more perks later, but first I needed to clean up my old code. Cue the coding nightmare. Every time I fixed something, something else broke, and it was like playing Jenga with my sanity. At one point, my AI units started teleporting to the world origin before moving to their actual destination. After hours of debugging, I found the issue. The AI does not give a single shit about pathing restrictions. If a tile is in range, the AI will get there. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I had to add checks to make sure they only move to reachable tiles. AI causing problems yet again. After all that suffering, I needed a break. Enter inventory system. This one was a breeze. There were plenty of tutorials available on YouTube, and one of those tutorials I learned about gameplay tags, which I will absolutely use for other mechanics somehow in some way. I made a simple item actor that spawns with a random quantity, and I've even added item price, sell value, and a max quantity in there. Hands down, this was the easiest thing I've done in Unreal. And to celebrate, I started working on UI for the pause menu, inventory, and party system. But I won't show you too much just yet on that. Instead, here's a sneak peek of my element icons. I'm pretty proud of these. You can give me a standing ovation. Thank you very much. I've also implemented a party swap mechanic. During combat, you control an ally while the main character takes a back seat. Right now, you can't tell the difference because my models don't have color variations yet, but trust me, it works. You just gotta believe, don't worry about it. But if you're really wanting to know all about that, the player model holds the gun in both hands. When combat starts, it spawns in an ally and you control that unit. This ally has the gun to the side. That's the difference between the two. It's pretty small, but pretty neat, I must say. I'm pretty proud with how far I've come. It wasn't hard making all of this, as the hardest part was just starting. But I've realized that to make this demo, I need help. So I've assembled a team of badass people. I've got 3 concept artists, 3 composers, a modeler, and I still need to find a rigger and an animator because I absolutely hate weight painting. I'm also probably looking for an editor to make sure my story flows well, but these people that I have in my corner are insanely talented, and I cannot wait to show off their work. Some upcoming tasks that I have left to do are items in combat, level up skill sets, a simple dialogue system locking onto enemies, hiding far enemies and items when combat starts, Xbox, Switch, and PlayStation controls, changing control defaults, and a save and load feature. Not to mention I need to also make all of the UI for all of this stuff. It sounds like a lot, but honestly, it shouldn't be as painful as the hell I just went through. And once that's all done, I can finally get into the fun stuff. Art. Oh, how I've been waiting for this moment. Anyway, I guess it's back to coding hell. Until next time, stay epic.
Sharp like an edge of a samurai sword, the mental blade cut through flesh and bone. Though my mind's at peace, the word out of order, missing then the heat, life gets colder. Oh yes, I have to find my path. No less walk on earth, water and fire. The elements compose a madam, opens my modus operandi as a bound.